Hey everyone, it's Whack. I welcome you back for a tutorial on how to use Galarian Slowbro. I decided to make this video like very recently because um, recently I feel like it's actually been a while since I've used the Mon, but I figured I might as well just pass my knowledge about it on to you guys. Hopefully you guys will start picking it up. I think it's very underrated in draft right now. I think a lot of people are picking up Glow King, whereas when they get sniped, they're just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just get like Nihiligo, I guess. No, get Galarian Slowbro. Use it. The thing, thing is freaking broken. So yeah, I'll be explaining why it's broken in this video. Feel free to comment if you like Galarian Slowbro. If you hate it, let me know why. I don't know why you'd hate it. It's like the cutest thing ever. So anyways, let's move on to its typing and its stats. It's a poison psychic type. I can't talk. It's a poison and psychic type, which it's weak to ghost, dark, and ground, and it resists grass, fairy, fighting, and poison. So overall, pretty nice resistances. It's not super weak to anything. You could argue like knockoff plus ground is kind of annoying, but honestly, who cares? So anyways, you got a nice stat spread. You got 95 HP, 100 attack, 95 defense, 100 special attack, 70 special defense, 30 speed. They base that total of 490. The stats are nothing to scoff at, although they're nothing like super amazing. Like base 100 attack is like, I don't know, think about Mew, think about Jirachi. I would say Victini, but Victini has high base power attacks that it goes off of like Choice Band and Specs and whatever the fuck you run on Victini. Whereas Galarian Slowbro is going to be like ran defensively most of the time, but because it has so much coverage, it feels like a decent wall breaker anyways. Even if you're not like running it as a wall breaker. And its special defense paired with its HP is not as bad as you'd think. Even if you just invest a little bit, you can come in on like more passive-ish special attackers. Like, it's not the perfect example, but think of like a Togekiss, like a defensive Togekiss. You can like switch in and not just like die to an air slash. If that makes sense. Like, you're not gonna switch in on like Specs or Uniqlo Psychic. You're gonna be switching in on like, you know, the passive Togekiss air slashes and whatever. Like that level of power, if that makes any sense. And then you got its abilities with Quick Draw and Regenerator. Quick Draw is interesting for memes, I think, whereas Regen is cool because you can just come in, take a hit like a close combat, click a button. Because you have so much coverage, your opponent should always be on their toes about what you're about to click. And then whatever they bring in, if you don't like it, you switch out. If you like it, you can slack off and then click more buttons, you know? And that's what Slowbro does with its typing, its stats, and ability. Let's move on to some notable moves. It gets a lot of moves on both sides, and it gets a lot of status moves too. So on the physical side, you got the Shell Sidearm, you have the Poison Jab, which I only listed because Glow King does not actually have this move, which is a little unfortunate if you want to run like Curse Glow King. You have Zen Headbutt, you have Drain Punch and Earthquake, which is nice for things like Heatran and Weavile and stuff like that. You got the Ice Punch, you got Body Slam, Facade, Liquidation, Foul Play, Iron Tail, Fling. On the status side, you have Slack Off, Disable, Trick Room, Light Screen. I don't think I saw Reflect when I checked. And then you have Thunder Wave. Unfortunately, you don't have Toxic, but you do get Yawn. Because it's a Gen 8 Mon, nothing gets Toxic except for like Toxtricity and like Galarian Weezing. And then you have a lot of setup with, again, Trick Room, Nasty Plot, Curse, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Amnesia, Belly Drum. Literally every single stat you could set up if you wanted to. And even then, it's like it's a pretty decent weakness policy mon. Like, think about clicking curse and then you have to take like a knockoff. Like, you get your weakness policy on like the +1 defense. You're not gonna take that much damage. You get your weakness policy off. Maybe you click Trick Room, you're good to go for a few turns. And then on the special side, you have Shell Sidearm, Sludge Bomb, Psychic, Psyshock, Scald, Future Sight, Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Hex, Focus Blast, Tri-Attack, and Weather Ball. Tri-Attack is interesting because you can just like, if you kind of just are going for like any random hacks, like if you just want like some random fucking freeze on something, click Tri-Attack, see what happens. And it's pretty good mon at clicking Tri-Attack if you want to. I haven't personally run Tri-Attack as much, but in theory, because of regen, you can come in, click Tri-Attack, fish for freeze every now and then. Can be interesting. And then you get Weather Ball, which is cool when you're facing weather. You get like base 100 power, water, ice, rock, and fire moves. Even though you already have Flamethrower and you have Surf as well, and I think you also get Hydro Pump. So on the water side doesn't really make a huge deal, and you also get Ice Beam, but having a rock move would be nice. I believe Galarian Slowking has Power Gem, but I don't think Slowbro has Power Gem. So that's just something I wanted to make note of. So yeah, it has a lot of options. And I want to talk about why Shell Sidearm is broken. So first of all, it's still base 90 power poison attack, which is the same as Sludge Bomb. It has a 20% chance to poison, although honestly, if you believe in your Slowbro, you will get like 70% chance to poison. And the reason why it's better than Sludge Bomb still is that even though you're losing a 10% chance to poison, you hit on the physical side if it's stronger. And you also make contact, which is something to make note of for if your opponent wants to run like a Rocky Helmet or whatever. They can invest more in like Spadef, but then slap a helmet, and that way the Shell Sidearm will actually hit on the physical side, and Slowbro can get punished for it. Although that doesn't really matter too much, especially because you can just regen off the helmet chip. And it's kind of comparable to like Photon Geyser, but the thing with Photon Geyser is it depends on Necrozma's attack stat, whether or not its attack is higher than its special attack, not whether or not it hits harder on the opponent's defense. So my example is that you'll always be hitting something like Buzzwole on the special side, and you'll always be running and you'll always be seeing like Blissey on the physical side. There's not really any reason to ever run Sludge Bomb over Shell Sidearm unless you absolutely need that poison chance, or if your opponent's special wall is like what I said here, like an Assault Vest Buzzwole or something like that. You should always run Shell Sidearm. And I believe it still has 16 PP, which Sludge Bomb also has, so... Anyways, its roles on a team, it's basically meant to just be a bulky Psychic or bulky Poison in one. Poison being honestly a pretty underrated typing. I put here that it's a broken typing, that's just my gaslighting. So anyways, and it has a lot of coverage that its stabs would normally struggle with. So if you think about like Psychic Poison doesn't hit steel types, well, you get Flamethrower for that, so they're switching in, they're taking like 50%, and then they're most of the time not getting the recovery back outside of leftovers because most steel types don't have recovery, unless they're like Corviknight, Skarmory, and Jirachi. Other than that, it's pretty decent just at being a bulky special attacker. It can also be like defensive Rocky Helmet or Berries. Something that it can notably do better than like Slowking is being a Rocky Helmet pivot on mons like Mega Lopunny and Mega Medicham. Even though Mega Medicham can like Zen Headbutt flinch, the Rocky Helmet chip is nice to get on that, and then you could also just switch out, get your regen, and then come back in and continue to get more helmet chip. Especially if you can bait stuff like high jump kicks and anything but Zen Headbutts, or if they miss a Zen Headbutt, you know? So that's pretty nice. Other than that, you have berries, which it's pretty good at running like Shuka Berry and Colbur Berry. You can take the knockoff with the Colbur and then just like hit, even take another knockoff after that, do another hit, kill, or just switch out. And then stuff like Shuka Berry is very useful for opponents like Gliscor and Landorus Therian and Garchomp. That way you can eat the Earthquake and then click Ice Beam and win. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, it's just a defensive regen pivot. You come in, you click a move, you switch out. You can come in, maybe take a hit, click slack off on the opponent switching out, and then you're back at full. So it's pretty hard to kill Slowbro. Even if slack off sometimes is a little bit too, like, even if it's a little bit overkill, it's still always nice to have and the option to just stay at full, come in, take a hit, eat, make someone else eat the hit, and then get the fuck out. And then its last main set is being a mixed attacker with mostly special investment, with mostly investments for Earthquake and Drain Punch. I don't know why I worded it the way I did here, but oh, you know what? I think I meant that it's so most of the time Glowbro will be like a special attacker, but you'll slap on Earthquake or Drain Punch for stuff like Heatran and Weavile, and you can try to get the rolls to either two-shot or like kill them pretty easily. I think you should always be able to two-shot them with the 4 times effective hit, but even on stuff like Alolan Muck, I believe you can almost two-shot that. You might be able to excuse me, you might be able actually to two-shot Alolan Muck. I'm not exactly sure. So past that, so it's common sets as I've listed already. You have your, I don't know if you just saw my Discord, but you have your Black Sludge, you have your Shuka Berry or Colberry or Salt Vest, Rocky Helmet, Boots, Belt, Life Orb, Choice Specs. Never run quick Draw. That's because regen is broken. I've already talked about regen, why it's broken. Unless you are memeing or you literally think you have no way out of winning a match unless you get the quick draw to proc. Otherwise, you'll be just sad that it doesn't proc, and then you'll blame your loss on Slowbro because you didn't have regen, so when you came in, you weren't at full health, or at 33% more than you would have. Especially when this mon isn't super bulky. It's like bulky enough where it's only really bulky because it has regen. Whereas if you're not running it, you're forced to click slack off like a lot more. It's kind of like Clefable. In fact, its stats are like exactly like Clefable's, just on like the defenses are switched. That's kind of what Galarian Slowbro's like. Yeah. And then for the most part, you'll just be running like a mix of Slack Off, Shell Sidearm, Flamethrower, Psychic, Ice Beam. And then whatever if like Drain Punch or Earthquake have to be run. And sometimes it's pretty easy just to run 2 moves plus Calm Mind and Slack Off. Or if your opponent has no Dark type, you might as well just go for like the Stored Power setup win. It's pretty good at that. Like, it's pretty easy to click Calm Mind on something, and then as like a ground type is switching in to click Earthquake, you can like Iron Defense with the Shuka Berry, and then just slack off and then start clicking Iron Defense more. So that could be interesting. And I don't think I've ever run Focus Blast, but you don't really have any reason to, in my opinion. So moving on, Before I get to the last part, some stuff to pair with Glowbro. I found a lot of success with Milotic, mostly because Glowbro can come in on the grass moves for Milotic. Milotic is also a Pokemon that just eats hits all day long. It also has Flip Turn to pivot around. Um, so you could also either be physical or special. Even for Glowbro's base special defense stat being 70, it can handle some special attackers, as I said before. Um, and then Milotic can deal with some ground types for Slowbro. So they pair together pretty well. Although in general, I think Milotic pairs well with like a lot of stuff. Another mon to pair with Glowbro, especially in the lower tiers, is Audino. Because if you think about it, Audino's weak to fighting. You're really only going to be killing Audino with like fighting moves. So if you can bait in the fighting type, maybe knock off their choice bands or like their life orbs, or you can wish and then the wish pass into Glowbro, eat the knockoff, get back up to full, and then scare them out with a psychic. That's pretty nice. And also just in general, if it comes down to the end of the game being switching around because PP is running low, it's always nice to have like a little regen core there. Como-O is also interesting because Slowbro can beat the fairies that Como-O doesn't like. And because of Glowbro having regen, you can just click buttons and start chipping stuff down, and Como-O loves having stuff chipped down, especially if this is a meta where like boots are very relevant, so having like spikes doesn't help Como-O as much as just like natural chip from other mons. And Glowbro is pretty good at that. Tornadus Therion's also pretty cool. Just think about the Torrent and G-King combos. It's pretty much the same thing, it's just a little bit less specially bulky, you know? So anyways, I have some replays for you. I'm actually going to look at this last one first. So sometimes Slowbro gets crit and stuff happens. So for whatever reason, I decided to stay in on a Heliolisk with Milotic, and Weather Ball knocks me out. So if your Glowbro is not meant to take on Sun Sweepers like Heliolisk, don't just like switch in your Slowbro. Use other shit. Like I could have gone to Como-O and I honestly would have been fine. I think I was saving Como-O for the Naganadel. I don't even remember. But yeah. So don't do that. But let's look at some showcases where Slowbro actually puts in some work. Oh, I just realized my window capture is like crapped. Okay, so let me replay this stupid turn. I think you guys could kind of see it before, but I'm just stupid. So I'm gonna go into the Glowbro. I get crit, I die. Cool. Replay over. Let's talk about this one. Okay, so I think this is gonna be over like the use of berries. So as you can see, the Garchomp has clicked Swords Dance as I went into Landorus to get the Intimidate drop. And he's going to Aqua Tail, which actually fucking kills me. And I find out he's Life Orb, so I'm like, okay. Glowbro has Shuka Berry. I always live. I believe the max roll was 99.7, which is something that Glow King could not do. I don't even think I was like Fizz Def. I think I was specially defensive. Actually, no, I might have been Fizz Def. No, there's a Deoxys. I'm thinking of a game where I would have brought Slowbro for like Mega Gallade. I could be wrong though. They might have still had Mega Gallade even with Dio. I don't know. I don't see them having those top 3 at the Gallade. So anyways, yeah, you take the Earthquake like no problem. And yeah, the Garchomp dies. He goes into Manectric. I switch out, and then this kind of shows off the regen court. He's gonna Volt Switch out into Typhlosion for some reason. This is Hisuian Typhlosion. As he's going to Eruption, I believe I wished. Huh. So, yeah. It's just kind of stalling this out. The Komodo is kind of low, but I believe I Wish Past. No, I didn't even Wish Past. I was just that bulky. I believe I just let my luck die here. Yeah. As now I'm gonna go into Glowbro just for some regen. He's gonna. It's actually gonna bait out the Hex. So Adino's just gonna switch in. Then it's gonna Wish Pass into Como, I believe. No. It's gonna just knock off the whatever. And at this point, my opponent really cannot do anything to break these three. And these two of which I have listed as good partners for Glowbro. The only thing I had to do was scare out this Deoxys. As you can tell, this Calm Mind. Honestly, this Calm Mind set would have beat me if it wasn't for Audino actually scaring it out. So I'll play it out a few turns, but for the most part, it's just like stall. The Glowbro is now back at full, as Flamethrower is going to do like not that much, but it's going to knock it out eventually. He's going to go into Toxapex, and on Toxapex usually you have to go for like Flamethrower burns, which some people don't really want to do, but yeah. And then because it's a poison type, it's going to absorb those T-spikes, which is nice. And Psychic is doing kind of a lot to Pex. So at this point, you're kind of just going for some hacks. Trying to find like the end of the game, because this is a very long game. He lets down the Typhlosion. He literally cannot kill my last three Mons, because Como I end up Wish Passing back to. Audino still has 7 wishes, but because the thing is back at full, it like doesn't really matter. And because he's toxic on the Dio, he really cannot set up on me while I am like hitting him. So he's gonna end up dying eventually. And more. Okay. And now this thing is dying. And now it's just Toxapex, and Glowbro is just gonna win. Yep. Our next replay is just randomly clicking buttons, because that's something Glowbro can also do. Honestly, if it's not super threatened and your opponent does not have switch-ins, you might as well just start spamming buttons. So here I'm gonna go into the Glowbro on the Super Fang. Obviously, it's gonna do 50%. He's gonna switch into the Landorus on the Shell Sidearm. Do I get the poison here? No. I'm gonna go into my Landorus Therian because it's a pretty safe switch into this shit. As I'm gonna get Rocky Helmet Chip. He's gonna go into Manaphy. He's gonna Surf. I'm gonna U-turn out. This play doesn't really matter. I go into Serp for some reason. I knock off whatever item this shit has. And I go into Glowbro on the Glow King. Neither of them can really kill each other in any way. I'm running mixed for some reason. I don't know why I have Ice Punch. Was I physical? You know what? I think I was just physical. Yeah. Earthquake, Ice Punch, Shell Sidearm. So I actually ran physical Glowbro once. So he's gonna go into Zarude on the Shell Sidearm. Because every time I come in on Glow King, because of my lack of PP on Earthquake, you might as well just start spamming random buttons. And it's an interesting interaction with Superior, with the technically special attack drops on the Moonblast. This Glow King can't break me, and he's wasting a lot more slack off PP than I will be. And because I have Ice Punch, I also have more PP than him. So he's actually going to switch out. I believe I called his switch to Landorus. I just clicked Ice Punch. Like, I have no reason just to spam random buttons. If I'm at full health, or like healthy enough, I might as well just start spamming random buttons. I think at that point I also figured if he wanted to go Zarude, he's also gonna either die to an Ice Punch or he's gonna get way too low so that Landorus can just get Rocky Helmet Chip and kill it. Manaphy doesn't really want to switch in on like Shell Sidearm. Gramble doesn't want to switch in on Shell Sidearm. Glade doesn't want to switch in because it can't. I mean, like, it's not Mega Evolved yet, so it's not even like physically tanky in any way. Now he's gonna go Glade. He's going to Mega Evolve and Swords Dance on my Shell Sidearm. As I get the poison because Slowbro's fucking broken. He's gonna Zen Headbutt. I live. And I believe here, I think, yeah, I just sack off Landorus, I believe. Actually, no, I don't, because Drain Punch didn't kill him. But it gets really low. And I can just revenge kill it with Superior or Weavile. I don't know why I went Serp. I think it's because I wanted to bait in Glowbro or Glow King. As yeah, the Zarude just like can't do anything. He's gonna go into Granbull, and I'm gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna go back to my Glowbro, and like people just don't prep for this thing. At this point, I was comfortable staying in. I'm actually Colberberry, so if he decided to click Lariat, I can just go for the Shell Sidearm and he can just die. But I didn't have to go for that play because I had Kommo this whole time. I don't want to skip turns, no. He's going to U-turn out, go back to the Slowking, and the same thing just happens over and over again as he really can't do that much to me. I believe if he had crit me here, I could have been in big danger, but eh. I'm kind of hoping that he burns me with Flamethrower. I think he gets the burn. Actually, he gets the crit here, which kind of matters. Now I have to switch out into Kommo. I believe he calls the switch to Kommo and he Ice Beams. I'm like, oh. Okay, well. So now he's going to go into Granbull. As he clicks Heal Bell, he hears the poisoning, which is cool, but he's just going to die to Shell Sidearm because it's special, because it would hit harder at this point. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really need Glowbro anymore. I'm just going to kill what's in front of me. And because I also didn't need Kommo at that point, so I'm just gonna sack it. And now I believe Weavile just wins the game. Yeah, I just Swords Danced on the Glow King because Flamethrower wasn't gonna kill me, and then I win. And it's because Glowbro just clicked random buttons. And, okay, let's see. The last replay I'm going to show, not that. It's going to be, oh, that's it. That is my only 3 replays. I thought I had another one. I had Glowbro in another league a while ago, but I am no longer in that league, and I do not have easy access to the replays at 2 a.m. So I just figured, I really don't need to. I really didn't need to see that anymore. So yeah, that'll be it for my Galarian Slowbro showcase. Hopefully someone learned something from this. Hopefully maybe I've convinced someone to want to draft Slowbro. Honestly, it's pretty broken because people don't really prep for it. Really, like, they'll see it, but they'll be seeing other things on your prep. Like on the games that I showed, I had Mega Gardevoir, Landorus, Therian, and Kommo. Like, you'd rather prep for those, you know? And Weavile. Like, my team was like pretty top heavy with Galarian Slowbro on it. And that's something that Slowbro kind of abuses, is if you have a top heavy team, slapping something like a Galarian Slowbro is pretty cool because people won't prep for it and it ends up just doing a lot more work. I believe that season it got like 15 kills. which is kind of insane. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's kind of a different video. Maybe I'll do a video on like Chestnut sometime. Honestly, I probably should have done a video on Chestnut, but um, Glowbro is a little bit more in my mind right now. So yeah.